Best piece of advice you received from Sir Alex Ferguson?
Don't complicate it, play simple. I actually nearly scored and he said don't do that again. So
when a time comes where you need a little clip around the ear or something like that, he's not afraid to do that either.
How did it shape your journey as a footballer?
You're always going to have ups and downs, and it's sometimes hard to accept that.
Hello sports enthusiasts, and welcome to the second episode of the Champions Podcast, a podcast where we interview sports legends at iconic venues across the globe. Today's episode is special to us because that venue is our very own stadium, the DreamSetGo office. It's also very special because we've got two very popular and legendary sports athletes from the very iconic Manchester United Football Club. Hi Denis and Wes, I can't tell you how excited I am that you all are in our stadium today. Let's dive into the rich tapestries of your career, starting with your illustrious days at Manchester United. How does it feel to be etched in the history of one of football's greatest clubs?
Well, it's an honour to play for Manchester United. I grew up in Ireland and Manchester United was huge, great history and tradition, and for me, to come across the water to a different country and end up playing for Manchester United, as I said, was a huge honour. But not just that, the fact that the 12 years I had at Manchester United was probably the best 12 years in the club's history as well, because we were right there at the very start of the Premier League, winning the first one. And then I had, as I said, 12 great years playing with some unbelievably good players under a fantastic manager. So proud and honoured that I put the red shirt of Manchester United on.
yeah, and for me, listen, I was a local lad, so to obviously play for my dream club was such an honour. I used to watch Denis and a few of his teammates growing up, where this was probably an era just before when Liverpool dominated quite a lot of the trophy. So to obviously come into the team and have so much respect for the older lads, and to sort of come into a winning mentality team as well was an honour. And like I said, from the first year, we started to win many trophies.
It's amazing. Do you remember the first time you met Denis? And
probably.
What your thoughts were at that point?
He probably asked me to clean his boots. No, but we used to do lots of duties back then. But I mean, Denis was always great, and obviously it was at. It wasn't at Carrington. It was at the Cliff Training Ground, which was very tight knitted. So you would see the first team players all the time, and if you wanted to chat, you would. I think as a young kid, you was a little bit nervous, but you obviously did bump into a lot of the first team at the time.
Yeah, fantastic. For any company, for any organisation, for a club, for a franchise, I think at the heart of success is the culture, right? So the culture at Manchester United is around, what sets playing for the club apart from any other is how did it shape your journey as a footballer?
Well, I think football is a bit like life. You're always going to have ups and downs, and it's sometimes hard to accept that. But what you need is people around you, to help you through those difficult times. And as I said, football is the same really. You look back in the 12 years I had at United, and everybody thinks it was laden with great success, but there was a couple of years in there where we didn't actually win anything. So it's sometimes how you react from those things that go against you. But it all comes from the culture, you said, what's in that dressing room, what the leader from the club, in our terms was Sir Alex Ferguson, the manager, passed down through the experienced players that eventually fed its way down to younger players. And I think, you need a couple of experienced players that show you the way in a very good manner, and the manager did very well in choosing when he signed players. I think that went right the way through from the class of '92 coming through. They knew what Manchester United was all about, and even down to today's culture of young lads coming through. I think they know what's expected from, and that's me from the outside, because I wasn't a Manchester lad. I just came into it as an outsider, and I knew straight away that the dressing room was a fantastic dressing room.
Yeah, and for me, I think it does come from the manager. I mean, I was very lucky to see sort of the older lads and the class of '92, as we call them, come from the youth team. A lot of that was down to a man called Eric Harrison, who we used to call the mini gaffer. He would get you in shape and ready to at any time to sort of go and train with the first team or even a game. But like you said, I think me myself, you always look up to the older lads and see, how they present themselves, how they treat training, the work they do. And the manager, like Denis said, drilled that in from the top. And as a young lad coming up, you would always look at that and you'd want to try and do your best on every occasion.
Yeah, I think hard work was a given, really. Probably 2 or 3 of the best players I've played with, and even the iconic players, the likes of Cantona, and you train with Ronaldo. They were unbelievable trainers. They had talent, but they had to align that with real hard work as well. And you have to learn quickly in football as well. So you put all that together under a fantastic manager, and you can go a long way with just that, can't you, Wes?
Yeah, and that actually naturally brings me to my next question, because culture is pretty much set by the leader. Both of you all spoke so highly about Sir Alex Ferguson, and I think his success at Manchester United has been unparalleled. I think if I have to personally look at any manager across any vertical, any corporate, any club, any franchise, his name always stands out, right, when it comes to leadership. So can you tell us a little bit more in terms of how he guided you all, how he motivated you all, how he got the best out of you all? What was he like a leader to get that constant success that he got?
Yeah, I mean, for me, obviously he's taught a lot of different people from around the world, but for me, obviously coming through as a young lad, I think the most important thing for me always gives me confidence. And there'd be times when I probably didn't play too well, but he would find a way to sort of get that out of my mind and say to me, listen, you're fine, just keep doing what you're doing. And I think he did that. If you ask a lot of the players, he did that personally to every individual in a different way. Sometimes he would give me the hairdryer, as everybody says, and that to me would get the best out of me maybe for the next half. And it's like Denis said, there's always ups and downs, but he was the sort of person you could always go and speak to. He'd always give you advice, and I think that's why you don't just play football to win just for yourself, but when I played, I wanted to make sure the manager was happy with me, my family. He give you that confidence and sort of that ability to keep going forward. And like I said, I was lucky enough to come into a team that the manager built that was winning trophies. And from the more experienced players, you get a winning mentality as well. And he always had that, regardless, whether we lost the season before, that winning mentality to then go to the next season and make sure we do the business was incredible.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think when I joined in 1990, he'd only become manager a few years prior to that. And I think he had plenty of strings to his bow, the vision of where he wanted the club to be in a number of years. Not just that, but obviously buying experienced players as well, but bringing a lot of young players coming through the academy, which certainly materialised. He got his staff kind of in the same mould as what he was. His captains, who I played under, were very much like him. They were leaders. I'm talking about Keane and Robson in particular. They were leaders on and off the football field. But as Wes said, I think his biggest asset was his man management, looking after players, because he's just not looking after a player. He's looking after the player and his family, because for that player to function at his very best, and he's trying to get the best out of a player, he's got to make sure that everything in the life is run smoothly as possible as well. So he cares. He's got great empathy. He cares about his players and he looks after them. But when a time comes where you need a little clip around the ear or something like that, he's not afraid to do that either. So he can judge players and work out which one can get a clip around the ear or which one needs an arm around the shoulder. But he's a great. There's no grey areas with him. There was no grey. You knew exactly what he wanted and what he didn't want. And if you crossed those lines, he'd be down on you. But the beauty about it is you knew exactly what he wanted, and if you adhere to kind of those kind of rules, and had a bit of a laugh as well in the dressing room, because that's what we did, and that's what he encouraged to do, and encouraged team bonding and all that. That's what made him a fantastic manager. But it was his man management that stood out.
That's amazing, because between both your answers, I mean, as a young leader, there's just so many qualities that came out that we need to instill to run a fantastic team, right? And I think caring, being empathetic, hiring the right team, having the right support staff, and above all, having a solid winning mindset are very, very strong pointers, I think, for any young leader to take from there. So thanks for that brilliant answer. Manchester United boasts of a massive global fan base. What do you think contributes to the club's worldwide appeal?
I think it started a long time before I was playing, maybe going back into the 50s, 60s. But yeah, I mean, for me, once I started, I mean, whether we were going on tour in Asia, America, Europe, it didn't matter. There'd always be a fan base, and that's probably because there's always been iconic sort of players, maybe for Manchester United as well. We've had some great players over the past, and then obviously when we got to the 90s, we started winning many more trophies as well. So it is absolutely fascinating how many fans we do have all over the world. Even still to this day, when we come to India, it's luckily I've lived there, and you manage to watch every game. Every game is on the TV, and I think that's a big part of it. But it's incredible, really, what the club has achieved in sort of fan base in the global area.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a huge history and tradition, and in that history, obviously, the tragedy of Munich in 1958, and for Samap to come out of that and then build a team of Busby Babes, young players, and go on to win the old European Cup within 10, 11 years. I think it's forever there. And then went through a barren spell in the 70s and 80s, but it's always been a fantastically supported club. Obviously in the 90s and 2000s under Sir Alex Ferguson, it's grown hugely as well, because when Premier League came on board in 92, 93, I think it lifted the appeal of the Premier League, and you look at it now and it's worldwide, and we're honoured that we travel as a club ambassador all over the world, and we get to meet probably all the fans that as a player you kind of miss out on, because you just want to play football. You're in a kind of a bubble, you don't kind of think of what's going on out there, but as an ambassador after finishing, you see a lot more that goes on the outside, and it's incredible, wherever we go. But I got to say, India as a passionate region is as good as anywhere. I mean, I've done a couple I Love Uniteds here, you have done it, Wes, as well, you've played across here. It's a very passionate and knowledgeable country, and that's why we keep coming back here.
That's amazing. You touched about India. Would love to know about your experiences in India. Any funny anecdotes, any funny memories? You've spent a lot of time down in Kerala. You said you've been to India and Mumbai a couple of times. You've even caught an IPL game that I hear, right?
Yeah.
So would love to hear about your experience in India.
I mean, I think it was good and different from the first time I landed. From the traffic, it's absolutely crazy. To the food, I think the food for me, the experience of the food was brilliant, and like the people, everyone's dead nice, and like I said, we travelled quite a lot of the country as well, playing different games, the away games, and it was just to see the whole area. But like I said, for football, how passionate people were, and it was, I think when you're playing in the Premier League, and obviously I'm from England, I grew up in Manchester, you don't realise how big it is until you see it. And India for me was if not the best one, alongside maybe somewhere in China as well. But it's crazy how many fans you have and how many fans the club has. And it's inspiring, really, and it's really grateful to be involved in it.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I came across to Goa probably about 12, 14 years ago with the Premier League trophy for the Premier League, but obviously as a Manchester United legend, to a youth festival in Goa and music festival. I couldn't believe how many football shirts there were on young fans, because I thought it was a huge cricket nation, which it is, of course, but I was quite taken aback, and the next 10, 12 years where I've been to Delhi a few times, Calcutta, Bangalore, loads of times in Mumbai, come to realise what football is here in India. And yeah, cricket is an unbelievable experience, and as you said, I went to an IPL. I'm not a massive, huge cricket fan, but I went to watch an IPL game, Mumbai against Bangalore.
Oh wow.
Last
Who were you
year.
supporting?
Mumbai, obviously, because I was here. No, I was quite, I just went to enjoy it and the atmosphere was incredible, and I now know how passionate, why why fans in India are so passionate about Manchester United. There's a real eye-opener for me, I gotta say that.
Oh, that's great. It's a pleasure to hear these stories from you all. I want to change the segment a little bit. Let's have some fun. Denis and Wes, are you ready to have some fun?
Let's go.
Our next segment is called On the Spot. I'm going to fire some questions at you, and it's a rapid fire, so we'd want you to come back with an answer as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Should we kick this off? Okay, great. So, favorite goal you scored at Manchester United?
FA Cup against Wimbledon.
Oh, great. Toughest opponent you faced in your career?
Cherry Orange.
Best memorable moment from the 99 treble winning season?
When Ollie scored that goal in the 93rd minute, knowing that we'd won the Champions League. Incredible.
It's amazing how you all scored
incredible.
those last minute goals are just phenomenal. Only Manchester United can do that.
It's the one we wanted as well, Champions League, wasn't it? So.
Amazing. Biggest prankster in the Manchester United dressing room?
You got a choice.
It was a good choice. I'm going to go with David May or Patrice Evra.
Oh, is it? Okay. Favorite teammate you've played alongside?
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane. Best piece of advice you received from Sir Alex Ferguson?
Don't complicate it, play simple.
It's always important to keep it simple.
Did he say that in an angry mode?
Yeah.
Or?
I actually nearly scored and he said don't do that again. So.
One word to describe the feeling of scoring a goal at Old Trafford?
Special.
If you had to pick one match to relive your career, which one would it be?
Oh, 99 final. By far.
Yeah. Complete the sentence. You can book official matchday packages only on
DreamSetGo.
I love you. And where can you book the best sports travel packages?
DreamSetGo.
Thank you so much. Fantastic. The next segment is actually my favorite. It's called My First Time Ever. Right, and I'm going to shoot a couple of questions, and we'd like to kind of hear your candid responses again as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Right. First appearance at Old Trafford.
1990 when I just joined against, I think it was against Coventry.
Excellent.
I hope it was.
First goal for Manchester United.
Oh, Champions League. David Beckham corner header against Juventus.
Wow, that must be
Big
special.
goal that.
Yeah.
Wow.
First player you'd always have by your side on a football pitch.
Roy Keane or Brian Robson. Either or.
Yeah. Okay. I love this question. The first time you received Sir Alex Ferguson's famous head-eye treatment.
I can remember it. Leeds away, 2001.
Tell us a little more what happened.
I actually thought I was playing well, but at half time I got the hairdryer. Found out afterwards that he does that sometimes and don't mean it, but I played even better, so it did work.
Yeah, that's amazing. So it worked. First time you got pranked in the dressing room.
Probably off David May every other day. Yeah, he was just up to anything, David May. I know Patrice, I didn't run the dressing room with Patrice, but was he
Very
as mad
similar,
as Maisie?
Very similar, yeah.
As mad?
Yeah.
As crazy?
Maybe not as crazy.
Okay. First time you got booked on the pitch.
Oh, that was all the time. I don't know that one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know that.
Do you remember your first red card or?
I remember my first red card was against Liverpool, but we still managed to win 1-0. But I had to sit in the dressing room for 20 minutes panicking.
Okay.
My
have been
first
a
red
tough
card
one.
was against Liverpool
Yeah,
as well. My only red card was against Liverpool.
How was it playing against Liverpool?
It's tough. You know, and that was sort of the time when we were always fighting for the league. They were probably not, but it was always in contention, especially even midway. But it was just fiery, you know, a lot of history there. You know, Liverpool still had a good team, and you know, they probably on any given day they probably beat us every now and again as well. But it's just the history, I think, in that game.
Toughest and the best, you know.
Yeah.
You got to look forward to games like that.
Your first trophy for Manchester United.
Cup Winners' Cup in Rotterdam against Barcelona.
Excellent. First ever celebrity crush.
Oh, Halle Berry.
Okay.
I can't remember what film she was in, but yeah, Halle Berry.
Yours? First ever celebrity crush?
Probably Debbie Harry.
Debbie Harry.
Dundee.
Great. What was the first time you visited India and the first dish you tasted?
I mean, it was probably, I mean, I've tasted many since, but garlic naan, dal.
Yeah.
I've never had dal before, so that was interesting. And I always thought, you know, I love having an Indian at home, but you know, I think when you come to India, I think it tastes a little bit more special. You know, there's a lot more spices in there, but absolutely love Indian food, yeah.
I think you got it right. I mean, garlic naan and dal is a great dish to start with.
Yeah,
Too much.
We ate in Indian and Cheadle once. Remember, the food was
We did,
excellent.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
But like Wes said, the food over here, it's spicier and tastier. That's what I feel anyway.
100%.
Probably just a simple tandoori with a nice little spice in it. I think my spice levels have got better actually.
Was that in Mumbai or?
No, that would have been in probably Delhi. I'd say.
Delhi. Yeah, fantastic. Delhi's got some amazing food, so great. First time you met Sir Alex?
First time I met Sir Alex, I was 13, and I was signing schoolboy excellent forms. So yeah, very shy, but obviously an honour to meet him, and 13 years old.
First thing he said to you when you met him?
Are you married? He signed me in 1990, and while my agent was sorting some kind of deal out, he brought me on Old Trafford and just explained what he was trying to do with the football club, his vision going forward. And then out of the blue, he just says, "Are you married?" Because he likes players to be settled.
That's great. First time you swapped a T-shirt with an opponent?
Yeah, I didn't do that very often, but I managed to swap my shirt once with Ronaldinho. It was actually an international game, England versus Brazil.
Fantastic choices. You know, it's been an absolute pleasure hosting you in our stadium. This is a day that I'm not going to forget easily, because having two Manchester United legends in our office in Mumbai is something that's going to stay with me and my team forever. Thank you so much for coming to our stadium and for gracing us with your presence. It's been an absolute honor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.